I literally have to turn myself down when I talk and turn myself up when you talk.
Hey, shut up while the music is playing, asshole. It's Black History Month.
And we're live from the Good News radio station.
You wait another 5 seconds.
This is Touchdowns and Tangents. I'm Pete D. Camarillo.
I'm Kenneth Frank James Berry.
And we're already with the shits, despite the fact that we actually just enjoyed a good meal together.
Yeah.
Shout out to, what was it called?
Little Beijing.
Little Beijing in Culver City.
By the way, Keith.
That shit was fire. They have a pad thai there.
Actually, it wasn't pad. It's pad thai. That what we had wasn't pad thai. It was pad see ew. It's a thicker noodle.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, it was beef pat. It was beef
and it was as
a
you could get it as an entree or get it in substitute for chow mein for only 50 cents more.
Which I would have done, but the chow mein was fire. So shout out to them. By the way, Keith, my mom won't stop badgering me about this. She wants a Good News shirt. She wants a shirt.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Good News radio station.
Her and my
always.
sister, a large, 2 larges.
Kenny's out here rocking his medium Good News radio station.
I lost weight ever since I started working at that vegan market. Shout out to like vegan soup and shit. It's really
man.
Healthy.
And shout out to all the replay affiliates. Shout out to FBC Radio. Shout out to X Squad Radio Network. And shout out to everyone else who listens to our show on various podcast networks, including Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, Podbean, TuneIn, Anchor, etc., etc.
The local
Apple
Hoodspot
Podcasts. You can find us all there.
See, Mom, you hear that? Keith said he got you. So this is out of my hands now. That's a transaction between y'all. Thanks, Keith. Appreciate you. And yes, that Chinese food was fire. Anything with like Beijing in the name is fire. And they put little in big red letters. So they was with the shits. And it was packed too. And
it was packed with Asian people, Mexicans, and black people. That's
and that one chick who was probably from South America who kind of looked Russian, but she looked like she definitely did porn.
Wow.
Black
that
stockings.
was really misogynistic. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure.
I wasn't even looking.
I'm single. Okay. Well, I noticed it. She kind of looked like she was like the alternate character in Tekken.
But yeah.
She looked like Nina from Tekken.
But
there we go.
If you go there, don't get discouraged by the fact that it's in between a Subway and a Jamba Juice. It is actually good and hood authentic.
It's actually really close to World on Wheels. It's like right there in that plaza.
Because if you never listened to this podcast before, this
broadcast. Jesus.
One thing, this is actually a podcast.
It's a broadcast.
No, it's a podcast.
It's being broadcasted to people.
It's a live podcast.
When they listen to it on their own, it's a podcast.
It's
a live podcast that's being broadcasted.
Exactly.
Either way.
It's a live podcast being broadcast.
The verb still stands either way.
No, it doesn't.
Asshat.
Anyways, like I was saying, one thing you can expect beyond petty banter between Kenny and I is one common ground, and that is
righteous indignation.
Hood food. Hood food.
And righteous indignation about trash hood food.
But yeah, anyways, so let's get to the content, man. There's a ton of it this week. Last week, we didn't get to a lot of it because, well, we need to address a lot of things about the Kaepernick situation.
By the way, how do you still feel about that after we had that talk and that insightful some guests? Shout out to by the way, our fans are called Bobs now.
Yeah, we're officially calling our fans.
Yeah, they're called Bobs. Shout out to Ryan who came in and gave her spiel at the end. And because I've actually been through what Kaepernick's kind of been through, just I didn't get offered.
Honestly, I really
money.
don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm over it. I'm ready to just.
Do you still feel the same? It feels like you didn't get all of it off your chest.
No, I got it. I got everything I wanted to say off my chest. I think the conclusion of the show. You have to listen to the whole show because I feel like by the conclusion of the show, I kind of realized that I'm not necessarily so mad at Kaepernick as I am more mad at
yourself.
Kind of the reaction around it, and also myself for believing in him. But yeah, besides
which kind of went to everybody else's point that maybe if you didn't let him stand by himself, and if everybody was kind of pretty much my thing was Kaepernick made the right decision for himself. And by the way, for all y'all who don't know, civil rights movements and things like that aren't cheap. So he has to get the money somewhere. And since he was accosted And
again, bro, I really don't want to talk about this. We literally spent a whole entire episode on it. If people want to hear about it, they can go back and listen to last week's episode.
Because clearly, believe me, you're still in your feelings.
It's gonna be evergreen, like forever.
It's clearly an evergreen topic for you. But anyway,
yeah, man, because I just don't care. We've already given that story so much of our airtime.
I think your point is probably just you're tired of people being the champions and faces of causes only to just fund their nonprofits and then go back to their day. And then the rest of us are still out here in the street dying, but you got a bag. That's cool.
I just watched the documentary about that. I can't remember his name. It's
Teddy Pendergrass?
No,
Sam
the
Cooke?
singer. Yeah, Sam Cooke. There you go.
Yeah.
I just watched a Netflix documentary on him, which kind of put me on game about him because I wasn't even really aware of everything he did for civil rights and stuff like that. I'd much rather talk about...
Change is going to come.
Which didn't come out until, what, the 80s, they said? Yeah, so I'd much rather talk about him than Kaepernick at this point in my life, just because, like,
all right,
I'm seriously, like, I'm over Kaepernick. Like, he really is the 21st century activist, and it is what it is. On that note, man, so this week's news, the topic of today, the biggest topic for no reason, really. Jason Witten is leaving the Monday Night Football booth to rejoin the Dallas Cowboys. Why are you clapping? I'm confused.
Because I don't ever want to hear
your jokes off.
I don't ever want to hear this cottage cheese equivalent. Like, when I hear him talk, it just sounds like sour cheese being poured in an open wound while car batteries being hooked up to my neck.
It sounds like...
That's what it sounds like. And his dumbass analogies for a guy who went to Tennessee, boy.
It sounds like ESPN literally clout chasing...
Maybe this is what
Fox by getting Witten. They were like, oh, well, Tony Romo was good, and he played on the Cowboys. So
I would love to
Jason Witten is white, and he also played for the Cowboys, so he must be good too. Let's give him the job.
Even though most of his passes were, I think Jason Witten was highly overrated, but still a Hall of Famer. But whatever.
I definitely put him in that Heath Miller.
Heath Miller was better than Jason Witten.
Todd Heap.
Todd Heap had a short career.
Category of tight ends. But I digress. Yeah, man. So Witten is retiring from the booth after only a year. Well,
but getting a 1 year, $3.5 million deal from the Cowboys,
which has led
they have
to
no tight ends.
Which has led to literally a bunch of broadcasters who've never played football and a bunch of broadcasters who have played football essentially announced that they're available to come out of retirement. Shout out to Darren Woodson and shout out to
Damian Woody,
all the fucking fuckboy white dudes who produce and other NFL
just
podcasts.
When I say we're not going to say the F word on this podcast, you just keep the streak alive.
I said it like 10 times last week, so it's all good.
My mom gets mad at me every time. Like, she says, "You guys cuss."
We
too
really
much.
do need,
and it's usually you.
Nah, you curse too.
Yeah, but I don't say the F word all the time. I say it.
You say shit.
I say it off the air.
You say shit and bitch.
When was the last time you heard me say the B word on air? Check the archives.
You said a lot. All right.
I say shit a lot. I say shit a lot. I say a lot of shit.
Anyways, so yeah, man.
Speaking of shitty,
any other jokes you want to get off on Jason Witten?
Hopefully he doesn't drop the ball like he did in the booth.
You're corny. Come on, you got something better than that.
I do. Jason Witten is the physical embodiment of what potato salad with raisins look like. That's his audio. That's his broadcasting style.
I don't even think my boy Woos like Jason Witten in the booth, and he's a diehard Cowboys fan.
One of my jobs, used to have a potato salad with raisins, and
I hope Amari Cooper mixes them up.
I hope Amari Cooper says, "Hey, you ain't getting none of my catches, dog."
Just from a football standpoint, though.
You getting
just from a football standpoint,
Cole Beasley's catches.
I don't really understand why you would bring back Jason.
They don't have any tight ends.
Okay, this draft is stacked with tight ends.
They're young and not ready yet.
Okay, so neither was Martellus Bennett when they drafted
Martellus
him?
Bennett was ready. They just didn't give him catches. Nah, he was.
He was a blocking tight end for like 2 years.
Bro, he
like
was
a solid like 2.5 seasons.
And had stupid athleticism. He had stupid athleticism.
That's what I'm saying.
In college, he was catching passes on people. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm.
He'd have been dope anywhere else.
That's why he was what a third round pick, second round pick.
He had red flag issues about his character. He was a 5-star tight end,
quote unquote red flags. But we'll get to that later. He was a 5-star
tight end recruit.
We'll get back.
You're
gonna
talk to me, and I played NCAA football when he was like stupid athletic at tight end. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about college football players. You don't even watch college football. Martellus Bennett was the truth in college. You used to, yeah.
Just like you used to watch NFL. But we don't talk about that because we host the NFL podcast.
I'm going to boo you. You really thought like you were going to get that snap off the mic and people were going to hear it.
All right, man. But for real, Jason Witten, I just don't get it. Because he was already slow 2 years ago when he retired. 1. 2, he's been hurt like the past 4 years. And 3, like when the Cowboys want to move into a new era, like with Dak, Amari, Zeke, and like, you know,
they want to make
black skill players.
They want to like they want to make the Cowboys.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Like, they want to make the Cowboys great again.
Yeah, apparently.
Bong bong.
If Cole Beasley gets a multi-year contract, then we know something's up.
Andy,
but knowing our luck, he'll probably end up with the Raiders.
Twitter. He said it on Twitter.
Knowing our luck, he'll probably end up with the Raiders.
No, but did you hear what Cole Beasley said on Twitter a while back?
What?
He was talking about how like it's really up to the front office who gets catches or not, who gets targets. And he said that on Twitter, bro. I retweeted it and everything.
Well, and then he had to go back. Not going back to Dallas.
He's still there. He had to go back and clarify it.
He's a free agent.
They'll probably draft Andy Isabella.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Second round, and if he really runs like a 4.3, I'm like, okay, that's one white dude who can play receiver and be fast. He'll just be Ryan Swope minus the concussions. Ryan Swope would have been nice had he not had all those concussions because he ran a 4.34 at the combine.
All right, so while we're on the topic,
he also played for Texas
While we're
Tech.
on the topic of combines and. Of course, 40 times.
The modern day slave auction, as you once said a long time ago.
I never said that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You likened it to
no,
a slave
you
auction.
said that. You said that.
The underwear Olympics.
Yeah, you said that.
You co-signed it though.
I didn't disagree.
So that's a co-sign.
You also think college football is slavery.
Well, yeah, anything where athletes don't get paid for the service.
It's more like sharecropping.
My grandfather's grandfather was a sharecropper.
Yeah, but that's what it's more.
You want to talk about sharecropping?
It's more.
How unfair that is?
It's more like sharecropping.
Do you really want to make that comparison?
Yeah, I know it's logistics and like semantics and
you don't understand the racial undertones of sharecropping.
No, I got it.
As a black person and a Latino person, you realize how bad sharecropping is.
No,
for us?
I'm not saying sharecropping is.
You really
any better.
picked sharecropping in the hill to die on.
I'm not saying sharecropping is that much better.
It works for white farmers, but not black ones.
It's a little bit
ones.
better than slavery.
Don't die on this hill, Pete. I'm trying to save you. Please redact that.
No, we've already had this conversation, and you've actually agreed.
You don't understand how bad sharecropping is.
No, I do. I completely understand.
So
how
don't
bad
say
is.
It's slightly better than college athletics and slavery, because they're equally bad.
No,
but on different levels.
I'm saying college football is like sharecropping.
No, it's not.
Which is a little bit better than slavery.
Oh God!
We've literally had.
Do you hear yourself? You sound so bad.
We've literally had this conversation already. Like, and you've actually agreed with me. So I don't know why the fuck you're acting brand new. Yeah, you're just being fucking stupid.
It sounds worse when you say it like that.
We've literally had this same exact fucking conversation like 5 times.
And I don't.
So now
I don't remember one of them.
And you over here acting surprised is just fucking stupid. Yeah, it's not funny. Nobody's fucking laughing, bro.
Do you hear it? Do you hear yourself out loud?
Yeah, because
it sounds worse when you say it out loud.
No, it doesn't. I've said that multiple times.
Okay.
Here we go, bro. I wouldn't say
sharecropping. I would say more like migrant working. which is also shitty, but it's like migrant working. It's like, oh, you have to go to this place.
Can we just
to get money and be successful?
Can we just talk about the combine?
I mean, because I could say like,
can we just talk about the combine?
Yeah, Division II guy. Yeah, let's talk about the combine. Shout out to Obi and all these black players from black colleges who don't get combine invites, which is trash. Amir Hall didn't get a combine invite. Oh my God, that hood Chinese is coming back to hurt me. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, man. So the combine is this week. For those of you who don't know, as Kenny's already alluded to, it's often referred to as the Underwear Olympics. Basically, the world's 300 most elite college athletes, football players are all sent to Indianapolis to be poked, prodded, weighed, eyeballed, and put through a series of drills related and not related to football, including the 40-yard dash, bench press, and
hours and hours
position-specific drills,
and hours of interviewing. Where sometimes they
medical exams.
Where they ask sometimes if your mother was a crack whore and did you do drugs and are you gay and would you kiss a man? But that was Darius Weiss. Yeah. So what? There's always every year there's some weird ass questions that people ask. And then it gets leaked afterwards.
Weird ass questions that you would never be able to ask in any other job interview. Because
any other one.
That's essentially what this is. This is
HR complaint.
This is the grandest scale of an interview.
Would you kill your mother or your father? What the fuck? That has nothing to do with football. Like, why? And that's the part of this I don't like. Is like the mental. Like Warren Sapp said, the combine was created for you to lose money. And I kind of agree in some aspects.
No, it definitely is. I remember reading a profile on it, I think a season or 2 seasons ago, where it's essentially, you go through this whole grind leading up to the combine because, even though it can lose you money, it's basically a tiebreaker. So it can make you some money. If you're a middle of the pack guy, you can move up. But it's more scaled for you to move back. Anyways, so yeah, these guys train for hours on end leading up to the combine.
Jeffrey Simmons tore his ACL, by the way, preparing for the combine. But he wasn't invited anyway, so.
And then when they get there to Indianapolis, because they usually have to fly there because who lives in Indianapolis? But yeah, they get there, take these long flights.
We ever going to talk about why they necessarily always have it in Indianapolis? You want to give some background to that? Some credence, because some people might wonder why is it always in Indianapolis?
I don't know, bro. Go ahead. Since you want to cut me off, go for it.
Because that building is state of the art, and that track is like state of the art, and it's like the standard. So they always have it in Lucas Oil Field, and I'm pretty sure the Ursays have a really good deal. They're making mad loot off that, and also, yeah. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
That's part of it. I mean, I don't have all the facts.
Are you sure? Because I thought we were in unnecessary toughness again. Because you've been mad talking over me.
Oh, I mean, sorry. You usually talk over me.
Wow. Wait. Hold up.
You usually talk over me all the time. Did you just say
sorry? Wait. Hold up.
I guess. Did I?
I'm shocked. Breaking news. Hold up. Kenny said sorry. I didn't even know that was in your vocabulary. Holy shit.
Lo siento.
Holy shit. I've known you for what, 5 years now? Damn, you can learn new tricks. I'm shocked.
Do you just equate me to being a dog?
No, you can
on
be a magician.
On the last day of Black History Month?
You can be a magician.
Have you no shame, sir?
You can be a magician.
No one likes magicians.
You like magicians.
I hate
Shut
magicians.
The fuck up.
I agree with Sarah Silverman. If magicians are so fucking great, why can't they cure cancer? Bitch. See, I didn't want to curse, but now I'm annoyed.
All right, man. So, yeah, the combine, basically, they get to their hotels in Indianapolis. Oftentimes, many prospects, especially lower prospects, are all grouped together in hotel rooms, 3-4 people in 2 small hotel rooms. You go through all these vigorous 12-hour days where you're like waking up to work out, then going and working out, then doing interviews, and then going and having lunch with other teams after the fact, and then coming back and doing more workouts, and literally working on your 40-yard dash start in hotel hallways. Like, it's literally a grind.
Making
like,
sure
it's
you don't
a
pull your
4-day
hamstring.
grind. It's like a 4-day grind of just constant working out, interviews, eating, media days, training. Like it's a circus. And honestly, it's kind of getting more and more like unnecessary because I feel like more and more it always kind of happens where the top players don't do stuff at the combine. But now it seems like more and more they're not just not doing the measurables, but they're not even doing the on-field stuff, which is kind of making it less relevant.
Makes sense because I could just throw my pro day and be scripted and be in my own element and throw the guys that I know and trust.
Yeah, that's that. But for me, I think
because the combine's set up for you to fail if you're a quarterback.
For me, the combine and what I've always said is it's more of the mental element. Like, how do you deal with all those stress and adversity and being in a situation where you're not set up to succeed, where you're being set up to fail, frankly? How do you deal with that? What's your mentality through all that? You rise to the occasion. Like, that's kind of what I look for more in the combine, more so than anything else. I know you're big on the 40. You've always been big on the 40.
Because you can't be slow as hell and play at an elite level. Like, I'm not. I don't expect you to be the fastest, but if you're going to be a game-changing player at your position, I need you to not be slow as hell. Now, for like interior defensive linemen and some defensive ends, speed isn't always an issue. It's more like a functional agility, directional movement.
Get off. Yeah. Acceleration.
Yeah, the 10-yard speed. The 10-yard split. That's what everybody looks at. With skill players, I'm like, if you run at least a 4.5, that's all I really need to see.
The biggest thing is there's a difference between game speed and flat out speed.
Yeah.
You can ask John Ross about that. But even same thing goes for strength. I mean, you could
there's
there's
Marcus
functional
Hunt.
Strength, there's people that move people, and there's people that move weights.
Exactly. They're weight room kings.
And we all know those guys even going back to high school.
Oh yeah, plenty of them. One dude who clearly was using steroids at my high school, but we're not gonna fuck that guy.
So, do you want to talk about standouts, or do you want to talk about really what's already been pretty much the biggest story of the 2-day-old combine so far?
We can jump to just the biggest news, but
so Kyler Murray,
Oklahoma quarterback, Heisman winner,
has officially what would you say? You can't say weigh in. What is hide-in?
He walked in, head held high, all the confidence in the world, standing at a solid 5'10",
which was the number for him because he needed to hit that 5'10" to really warrant being in that top 5.
People said he was 5'9".
Discussion.
He was a clear and decisive 5'10".
We were all talking about it off air, making jokes.
He's my sister's type.
He was probably hanging upside down.
They beat him like an old rug in a shower and let him hang and dry out.
They
put his body like in one of those heating bags.
He was stomping on his feet trying to make his heels swollen. He was wearing multiple socks. Wow. He was wearing cleats. Anything he could do to hit that 5'10".
Wearing platforms in his shoes, getting his posture as perfect as possible.
But yeah, he's 5'10",
207,
which is 17 pounds heavier than what he played at in college.
I'm like 20. He was like 185,
which is essentially Russell Wilson's height.
He was heavier than Russell Wilson when he came out of college. But most importantly, his hands were a little bit bigger than Baker Mayfield's, it was like 9 3/8 of an inch. Because usually the standard for quarterbacks, you don't want to be smaller. You don't want to have hands smaller than like 9 1/4 inch. Because if you have little hands as a quarterback, chances are it's going to be easier to get the ball stripped and all that other stuff. And that's why they looked at Drew Lock, because he had hands that were smaller than the average for quarterbacks. It was still 9 inches. I think it was like straight 9. But they looked to see how he handled the ball in cold weather games, bad weather games when the ball's wet, things like that. Small stuff like that matters. You don't want somebody with super small ass hands trying to block or throw the football because it matters.
Well, the thing with height and weight and even measurements, like,
there's a threshold that you need to hit.
It's a threshold because there's only so much you can do with so much God-given talent. Like, if you can't make your hands bigger, but if your hands are small, that limits you in situations that you've already described.
Unless you're a running back, then.
But even then, catching the ball,
you don't want short arms.
You don't want short in any position in football. Really, you don't want short arms.
Kickers can have no arms, and it'll be fine.
That's true.
You just want to be a punter and have,
But let me ask you this. So my whole thing with the Kyler Murray, and like I'm not going to pretend like I watched a ton of film on Kyler Murray because I haven't.
Because you don't know shit.
All right, go ahead, man. Talk.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, bottom line is he's not throwing at the combine, which is what a lot of quarterbacks are learning they shouldn't do. Cam Newton threw at his pro day, and he turned out perfectly fine.
What I was going to say is everyone is likening Kyler Murray to Russell Wilson, who went in the third round, right?
But Kyler Murray has world-class speed for his position.
So that's what I'm saying.
He might run a 4.37.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm glad everyone kind of is learning from Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. Like, oh, you don't need to let a quarterback fall to the second or third round because of his height. Cool. But at the same time, and somebody put that on Twitter, that doesn't mean Kyler Murray's game is perfect, and that doesn't mean he's better than these defensive linemen who probably deserve to go 1, 2, and even probably 3.
But we all know quarterbacks are just specialized over everybody.
I get that, but how much of this is kind of a residual effect of the impact that both Baker Mayfield had as an undersized quarterback and Lamar Jackson had as a mobile black quarterback to Kyler Murray?
Well, here's the thing.
Because honestly, I don't think Murray in that draft class would be a first-round pick. I think I would.
He wouldn't because that was a deep class.
I would put all those guys.
I think if Lamar Jackson had stayed another year and came out in this draft,
he'd be the number one pick,
unquestioned.
Yeah.
And for a lot of cats in those drafts you could name, they probably would have been the number one overall pick. Daniel Jones made the right choice by coming out of Duke. My thing is this. The spread offense and the evolution of the spread offense has changed so much to suit quarterbacks that now we really actually more than ever have to look at what a quarterback can do and judge him off his skill set and how he fits in the confines of an offense rather than, oh, he's a traditional drop back quarterback. That's why I'm kind of glad that this is happening.
So you're saying there's more of a push to system QBs is what you're saying?
I'm saying we're
because that's what I heard.
The standard always was system QBs. Can you run this system? Can you hand the ball off? Can you memorize spider, 2-wide banana, all the other dumb bullshit? There's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of quarterbacks from 10 years ago, whatever, who would be all pros today.
Doug Flutie.
Let me explain this.
You almost just threw up.
I really almost threw it. I want everyone to hear this. Fuck Doug Flutie.
What did Doug Flutie ever do to you?
Aside from, no, I'm just playing.
Are you a Canes fan?
A little bit, yeah. I just hate Boston College, and I just thought he was trash. He was his era's Tim Tebow, but a better passer than Tim Tebow.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, if Doug Flutie was 6'5", he would have been nice. I'll give you that. If Doug Flutie was 6'5", he would have been nice.
Or he would have been Gus Frerotte.
No, Gus Frerotte is trash on every level. Don't disrespect Doug Flutie by calling him Gus Frerotte. Now you're being rude. You didn't watch Gus Frerotte at Maryland. You don't even know he went to Maryland until I just said it.
I watched him at the Vikings and
when he ran into the goalpost and gave himself a concussion.
Yeah,
dumbass.
Trash.
But anyway, like I said, those quarterbacks could just run a system, and they just had to do that. These quarterbacks, and because everyone, and I think of like speciality and specification in sports, were like, you look at Christian McCaffrey, everybody's like, he would have been a first round pick as a receiver.
Yeah,
first round pick as a running back. He did great things this year. Kamara, first round, could have had first round talent.
I guess what I'm saying is we know it's a copycat league, right? It always is. They're always like
now it's
copying
about the best
trends.
athletes. It's weird. It's about the best athletes.
And that's what I'm saying is like, just because Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson did good last year, like that doesn't mean
all spread quarterbacks
would be good,
because he was a dynamic athlete in a dynamic offense that was suited to his skill set.
So that's what I'm saying
his
is
arm
like
talent
is like can't we find like a happy ground of like Kyler Murray going somewhere in the middle of the first round and being successful rather than him being a top 5 pick, getting all these shoulders of expectations and probably flopping out.
No. There's a lot of cats who it's about where you go. It's a lot of cats.
Is. It's
like Dante Fowler wasn't a bust, but I think he should have never went to Jacksonville. I think if he'd been a 4-3 defensive end, we would have saw something different from him by now. Let's say he got traded to the Vikings and he had to just play 4-3 defensive end. You telling me he ain't going to be good?
They were a 4-3 defense when he got drafted under Gus Bradley.
He had 8 sacks. He's not like he was a bust, but I'm saying in the right system, like, okay, they kept trying to make Jadeveon Clowney a linebacker.
The biggest thing with Fowler and the biggest thing with different guys, and
Clowney is a perfect
still listed as a
linebacker, but he's a 4-3 defensive end.
But anyways, what I'm saying is
JJ Watt really is a defensive tackle, but he's just athletic enough to play defensive end.
What I'm saying though is like, and I think what you're alluding to as well is, you got to draft somebody with like an actual plan in mind.
How you're going to get the best out of them.
How you're going to develop them, what they can do, and what they can do in your scheme specifically. But I think the problem with that, the NFL is such a short-term attention deficit league. It's like, even if you did make a plan, oftentimes you're not going to see it out. Because unless you win immediately,
coaches get fired.
And so that puts pressure on you to overinvest in these young talents and force them to develop instead of, letting things naturally work themselves out.
I think a lot of quarterbacks in this class you're going to see some of them fall.
And we see that in the NBA too. I mean, we see that pretty much in
it's mad NBA cats who are good and they just go to the wrong situation and it takes forever for them in the league. Like, what's his face?
But you can make the same comparison to just your first internship, your first job. It's like you fall into a bad situation where you don't have support, or it's a role that you have to adapt to,
which actually
but it just takes more time. Growth. It just takes more time.
Yeah, and sometimes adapting to that role stunts your growth, and then people will, well, why can't you do this? Because I'm not successful in this role and how you're using me. You could have got somebody less talented to do this, or you could have got somebody who's talented in this and doing this and have me go do something else. So a lot of times people just like to force a square peg in a round hole. You got to understand, okay, if I want them to be a part of my team, what do they do that will heighten the success of the team?
The difference in that scenario, like at the everyday level between the NFL,
it's usually a personality clash.
No, the difference is the NFL, like when it happens to you, you at least agree to it. You have some kind of conscious, like, okay, I'm going to try to adapt to this role, or I'm going to try to make the best of this situation, or I need this job, or whatever you're thinking is going into it. Versus the NFL, like, you don't have that say.
You get drafted and
you're stuck there.
Yeah.
Unless you're Kyler Murray and you can go to the MLB and say, fuck
it. But shout out to Bryce Harper getting a 13-year, $330 million.
Okay, I'm going to need you to just stop shouting out baseball stuff randomly.
What? We're a multi-sports podcast. We just choose baseball.
Debatable.
I mean, never mind. I'm not. I'll tell you off the air. But anyway, yeah, like Tyree Jackson, quarterback out of Buffalo, measured in the tallest at 6'7", 249, and I had I think the biggest hands, or if not, like the second or third. That's a cat who will do well by throwing, and if he tests well athletically. So it's kind of just like, it's smart for Kyler not to throw, honestly. I mean, Haskins is already seen as the best quarterback in the draft. He's like 6'3". So if Haskins runs a bad 40, it'll hurt his time. Or if he doesn't run at all. But Murray, it's the thing, like, he's athletic.
Let me ask you this. What makes Haskins not Geno Smith?
Because he actually ran.
You had to think about that.
Because I knew that question was coming. I knew it. Like, a black quarterback who's somewhat mobile and has a really great arm talent. He's not Geno Smith.
In 1 year of success?
First off, you're being disrespectful. Dwayne Haskins had gone to West Virginia, he would have thrown 89 touchdowns. Because West Virginia, their offense is just
gimmicky. Shout out to Pat White.
Dana Holgorsen, who I think left West Virginia, and I forget where he's head coach at now.
Man, I wanted Steve Slayton to make it so bad.
Me too. Houston killed a lot of careers because he was nice.
I feel like Slayton Houston is that place where good college running backs go to die.
I mean,
I feel like they just kill them all on scout team or something.
Lamar Miller, the Texas running back who ran for 2,000 yards, Deonta Foreman.
Yep.
Yeah, I still don't know how Lamar Miller had that 98-yard touchdown run.
I didn't even know Alfred Blue was still in the league.
And he's like the all-time leading rusher in Texans history for touchdowns, I think.
What?
I don't know how the fuck that happened. He's up there. Like, Alfred Brew is up there in all-time touchdowns. I was like, how? When did this happen? But, yeah. But, I mean, I look at the Combine, and really, everything is a chance for you to make money, but it depends on the type of prospect you are. Like, DK Metcalf has to have a great medical examination and really just needs to run somewhere between like a 4, no slower than like a 4.52. If he runs no slower than like a 4.52, probably going to be a first-round draft pick and just, catches well.
Bro, it seems like I ask you this every year. Like, this is like the 3rd or 4th year I ask you this.
Go for it.
How is Ole Miss so trash? Like, I don't get it.
They get elite talent, man. Ole Miss has always been putting out receivers. Don't sleep on. They were always putting out receivers. Greg Little is really athletic, but he might end up being like Greg Robinson. He has that potential to be like Greg Robinson.
Wasn't there a receiver called Greg Little?
Greg Little went to North Carolina. He ran like a 4.6. Played quarterback, running back, receiver. He's back in the league. He got signed.
What?
He was like out of the league.
Wasn't he on the Raiders for a little bit?
He was out of the league for like 2 years, and now he's back. But I don't think he plays for the Browns. I forget what team he plays for. But it's just like, man, no, just gross.
Yeah, Metcalf, you probably know him from social media.
Baby T.O.
He's the big yoked dude. He's weighed in at one point. He weighed in
6'3", 228 with 1.6% body fat. And Damian Woody said, "Don't worry, I got the other."
Some avocado toast eating white girl reporter tweeted that Metcalf is literally less body fat percentage than the avocado I just ate, which is probably true.
Definitely true. Yeah, man. Physical. That's why, like, some of the verbiage and terminology is really weird.
Yeah, Jim Rome does a segment every year where he takes quotes from draft analysts and plays them and like repeats them with like porn sounds in the background, and it's like hilarious.
Yeah, it's like a mix between like something really homoerotic and like a really bad slave narrative piece.
It's like, yeah, it's
gross.
Like it's some rum burgundy shit.
I'm not gonna miss Mike Mayock saying bubble butt. Like, I feel like if you say another man has a bubble butt in the context of like watching him work out at the NFL Combine, and you're some scrawny little white dude who was a trash corner who ended up playing safety.
Which, by the way, he should still be wearing a suit because he does not fill out a polo. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
we should be shitting on the analysts.
That skinny. Like,
we should shit on analysts who like are out there. I watch all this film and this tape, and I can tell you, like, oh, he's a bubble butt. He has thick thighs. Dog, let's talk about you. You look like fucking Gumby on crack.
I didn't even realize that Mayock was that skinny until this year because he doesn't look that skinny on TV when he's in a suit. But now that I've been seeing him,
that makeup cake, I always knew.
Now I've been seeing him on
Smack Cats on TV were scrawny and small. I know if I walk up on some of them,
all the ESPN, NBA reporters,
a lot of people.
But yeah, that's besides.
We're not gonna slander people in the media who are total tools, and like if they didn't have the money, they'd be lames. And I'm pretty sure I could convince them to like buy an escort like in the jungle somewhere.
Which we're gonna get to later. Because
I'll save that.
Rams great ED has something to say for everyone talking shit about
Robert Kraft in the sex ring and buying the services of women in a nasty ass Florida strip mall.
But yeah, we'll get to that. Any other people you want to shout out? I wanted to shout out Devin Singletary because he had a really great quote from the Combine. The Florida Atlantic alumni who finished his season with 4,000 rushing yards and 66 touchdowns. No,
he finished his career.
Yeah.
He was like a redshirt junior, I think.
All right. But yeah, so pretty much they asked him about his height, if he thought it'd be a detriment.
Was he 5'9"?
Yeah, he came in at 5'8". And he's like, I'm literally the same size as Barry Sanders. And then like the whole media was just like, oh shit, he is. Like they're like, oh yeah. They're like, oh yeah, he is. And they're like, oh. And so then from there the questions kind of turned into like, oh,
what's your 40? What do you think?
Have you talked to Barry Sanders and blah, blah, blah? Like he's like, no, but I've looked up to him because again, he's literally the same size as me.
Can we just talk about how like there really are a lot of stupid people out there who don't deserve some of these journalism jobs?
We'll get to that later.
That's the dumbest fucking question.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, there's a lot of stupid ass questions that go on in the media. I think it's because like
it's lazy.
I think it's lazy.
I've never like
it's lazy, yes, but it's more than just being lazy. It's
not being able to think on your own feet.
It's that, but it's a step further than no. This is what it is.
I'm venting my frustrations, but go ahead, keep going.
It's the fact that once you gain that access,
you get lazy. Complacent.
Besides getting lazy, besides getting complacent, those definitely factor into it. You don't want to challenge the status quo. You don't want to sound stupid. You don't want to look bad. And so they're so concentrated on being on the inside and gaining respect from people who are on the inside, both at the organizational level as well as people that they're working with, that they don't think outside the box. One,
do a little bit more research.
And two, they don't think like people. They're thinking like
sheep.
They're thinking like sheep, yes, but more so
they think like the team's PR publicist.
No, more so they think like how they think they should think. If that makes sense.
So compared to somebody who actually played the game and can ask film questions and all types of questions all day, they think like a question that person would ask.
Exactly. They ask questions that they think they should ask. They ask stuff that they think sounds smart.
So they perpetrate.
But then when you really think about it, it's not because
it's stupid.
Because they're so focused and so tuned into the inside, which is part of the job. Because I mean, essentially, the job is to disseminate information, distribute it across.
Disseminate. You said decimate.
Yeah, whatever. Disseminate.
No, words matter.
Whatever. Yeah, my bad.
Pronunciation.
Are you done? You've been real petty this episode. Are you good? It's because we listened to 808 and Heartbreaks before we came in.
I told you I hate Coldest Winter. And I hate All Along by Kid Cudi. I don't like those songs.
Anyways.
See on My Nightmares is fire, though. By the way, Jay-Z owes T-Pain
Shout out to T-Pain, yeah. Shout out to
Jay-Z owes T-Pain an apology. Beyonce, too. And I'm really tired of everybody just acting like T-Pain isn't owed apologies from a lot of people. Because y'all said he killed auto-tune when half of y'all, your favorite artists can't sing without auto-tune. Just saying. T-Pain sings better than Beyonce. There, I said it. Fight me. Acapella. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, he really is a great acapella singer.
You don't want the smoke.
I didn't even know that until like 5 years ago when
10 years ago.
My bro Ryan showed me a video of him singing everything acapella.
I remember when
Buy You a Drink, like all that, like all those hits he sang, and he like literally sang it better than auto-tune.
Yeah. Like that's why there's certain disrespect that happens between artists like T-Pain, Lupe Fiasco, and Chris Brown that I'm really tired of seeing.
It's kind of like us. It's like people think that because we don't do like a hot take show that we can't do a hot take show, And now, like, slowly the whole industry is going towards like a bunch of sport-ish podcasts and like 80% sports podcasts. Cool. When like we've literally been doing this for like 5 years now. But yeah, whatever.
Again, I'm
10 a.m. in Culver City freestyle. Yeah, but back to the journalist, man. I think it's just
12 p.m. on a 210 in Northridge.
I think it's just a matter of like, you know, being so inside that you really kind of lose perspective of the people and like lose perspective of like, what does the everyday person actually want to know from this person that I have access to? What did the everyday person actually see from the game and want to know more about? Like,
it's
what
not
is
even
it
that deep. Pause. It's not even that deep, honestly. It's like, okay, I just asked you, how's your size going to hold up? Well, I mean, did you watch me play in college? Like, I'm the all-time leading rusher in my school's history. And I did it against top flight talent. I played good against Oklahoma. Did you watch that? Like, I was the bell cow in that team's offense under Lane Kiffin. Did you watch that? You could just turn on my game tape and see how I performed against everybody. Did you even watch that? Oh, you didn't watch any film? Oh, you just looked at my stats and just said, oh, you're just a name with a face on it? I don't know, man.
Yeah,
maybe it's just me because I played football.
What you're talking about is true, but it's different. What I'm talking about is more of like a day-to-day beat type of thing. What you're talking about,
I've covered beats for sports too.
What you're talking about is more of,
trust me,
what you're talking about is more of like,
I've had to make shit soup.
What you're talking about is more of like general assignment people going to these big sporting events that are spectacles like Super Bowl and Combine without really knowing anything. So it's like,
but that was a dumb
it's
question.
kind of the same thing, but it's no. I mean, yeah,
you got
right.
measured by 5'8". Like,
it's still a dumb question, but like, yeah, it's just it's a different thing.
Maurice Jones-Drew was 5'7". How'd that work out? Pretty good.
For 4 years,
5 years. Disrespectful.
You didn't even like MJD.
First off, I loved Maurice Jones-Drew, and he went to De La Salle. He's from the Bay Area, so you
didn't like him with the Raiders. You slandered him like for 12 weeks
because it was bad. It was bad. He should have retired. It was bad. He stayed a little bit too long. It was bad.
And speaking of,
he should have went to a team that was actually good and had a good offensive line. It was really bad.
Speaking of insider bullshit, Mel Kiper, world-renowned draft analyst, really trailblazer, one of the first dudes to really ever do this at a high level, and really birthed draft Twitter a long time ago.
I mean, it's called a barbershop. That's where I think all that stuff started. Sports talk and barbershops.
He doesn't do sports talk. He does analysis.
I know, I'm just joking. Draft analysis.
You're just being a dick.
I am.
Anyways, Mel Kiper, for as right and as wrong, mostly wrong, he's been throughout his career. Fact of the matter is, he's done it. He's put himself out there, and he's really done it longer than anyone else.
He's had the industry behind him.
I mean, yeah, but he's also done it.
Todd McShay.
I mean, if you're, I'm not talking about accuracy. I'm talking about doing it. Right or wrong, he doesn't.
I mean, when you're put in that position and no one else is allowed to challenge you, I really don't see what's all that special about Mel Kiper Jr. I really don't.
He did it first. That's literally what's special about him. He saw how important the draft could be before anybody else was really paying mind to it.
He got it to TV first, but I don't think that he was the only person who thought like that in his time period. I think there are other people who thought like that who did get the opportunities that he got. It's the same way. It's like,
I mean, you could say that exactly. You could say that about anything.
Like, there's like
that's a tired argument. Like,
it's like
that's a tired argument.
He was just the most famous person that you know who does this. He's like the famous draft. He's the most famous draft analyst of all time. Is he the best ever? No.
He's the first draft. He's literally the first draft analyst. That's why I don't know why you're arguing this. He's literally the first draft analyst. This is not debatable. Like,
nobody else was doing it while he was doing it and just didn't get on TV. What you tell me?
The people that were doing that sort of analysis for him, like that he does, were doing it for teams. We're doing it for scouting.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody saw
that position existed.
Nobody saw it as
he
in
was
like
a trailblazer.
Nobody
the most famous.
Nobody saw it as something that like the common person would be interested in and want to learn and understand in terms of a media angle on
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
So he
didn't create that position. He is just the most famous who does that position.
All right, man. Are you
It's
done?
like Elvis is famous for rock and roll, but he didn't create the shit. People love Stairway to Heaven.
That's not the same,
but Led
bro.
Zeppelin didn't actually make that song.
It's not the same.
They stole it from somebody.
It's not the same.
Okay, I just used the Led Zeppelin example. Stairway to Heaven, they stole that from a guy.
Okay, so who did Mel Kiper still draft analysis?
No,
from?
but I'm not saying he stole it from somebody. I'm just saying
but that's what
he's
you're
the
implying.
most famous. He's the most famous
he's
person.
Not. That's not what it is, though.
He's
the first.
He is okay. He's the
He's
first.
first.
He's the first that made it to TV and the most famous. But that position existed for teams, and you don't know those guys' names. Maybe they wouldn't have worked had they gotten to TV, but he worked. Therefore, yes, he is the first. He's
okay,
the most
let me
famous.
ask you something. Have you studied NFL scouting?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay, have you formally studied NFL scouting?
Formally, in what regards? I mean,
have you formally studied?
I
there is actually a school of it. You know why? Because I've gone to it.
Oh, really? Where's your certificate?
Fuck.
Where's the
holy shit?
Where's the 4-year university? Where's the degree at?
Anyways, the point is like this.
You
like,
know what I'm
analysis,
saying, and you're choosing to disagree.
No,
with it.
but you're choosing to disagree with me because it's like
I just worded it a little bit differently.
No, because you're just refusing to give somebody credit.
I just said he's the most famous.
It's like, okay,
and he's like the guy for that. He's the trailblazer for that. For being a draft analyst on TV.
Yeah, but you're just saying that like
I said he's most famous.
You're saying that there were other people going to him. Those of which you
they were
don't
working
know
for teams.
What you don't know.
You just said they were his position, what he was doing. Teams were hiring people to do. Those people just didn't make it to TV.
No, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying
that's what you said.
I'm saying scouts and analysis has always existed. The difference was Mel Kiper saw that he could do that and also translate it to the everyday level. Because as you know, there's football speak and there's regular people speak. Mel Kiper and other draft analysts like
bridge
him,
the gap.
They bridge that gap because they speak to scouts and coaches and translate it
to the
masses.
So he's a trailblazer in that regard.
Yes.
But he's not the first to ever do draft analysis. That's what I'm saying. There's a distinction and there's a difference. That's all I'm saying. He was the first person to scout football, but he was the first person to scout football on TV to where people can understand it.
The other thing is doing it on the TV level is different than doing it at a team level because you're looking at 32 different teams and each team needs versus when you're doing it for a team, you're doing it for that one team.
And doing a big board. That's what I'm saying. He's
he's doing 32 big boards. That's what
I'm saying.
Bro, I don't know why you're even fucking arguing this.
I'm not arguing with you.
Bro.
I'm just saying it differently.
Stupid. Even like Mike, even Mike Mayock, who's went the opposite way, who's going from that role to going to a team, has talked about how different it is because you go from putting yourself in the shoes of 32 different GMs
to having actually be right on these picks.
To actually being accountable for what you do.
I agree with that.
That's why it's working for a team.
He's a legend, yeah.
Is different than doing it.
And this is his first ever actual NFL combine.
Yeah, because number of reasons. Number one, he never got access, which is weird
shocking,
to me.
Yeah.
Because why would you not get access? One. Two, he probably didn't need it because, like you said, he works for ESPN and they were the first people to broadcast the draft.
I think Mayock getting the job with the Raiders helped that.
Yeah, I think so too because it freed up competition.
Look, clearly what he's doing is proven you need more of this access. So now ESPN's
that's true. I didn't even think about it that way.
Now ESPN is like, well, why don't we just go live from the combine too, like NFL Network does? And now they're doing it. They're going live starting tomorrow, Friday. I
thought they've gone to the combine before.
No, they've gone there and did spot reporting, but not like live like NFL Network does, where it's a whole thing for 3 days. Like Rich Eisen is there like all weekend.
Yeah.
Now ESPN's doing it all weekend, and Mel Kiper's there. That's why it means something, because they're jockeying for position. Now ESPN isn't on the outside. They have their guy on the inside now.
Makes sense.
Mike Mayock, NFL Network, and the NFL, they have a very close relationship, just based off who's worked there. Imagine Adam Schefter at the Combine, 24/7, and then they break news that.
Well, Adam Schefter used to work for NFL Network.
There you go. And Antonio Brown.
Back when NFL Network was respectable.
Wow, you really just said that. Okay.
I said what you go to bed thinking about every day.
Thoughts of,
and wake up to.
Pete Camarillo in this particular moment are his and his alone. Don't include Kenny in that shit. By the way, Ryan said people who like Stairway to Heaven don't really know Zeppelin anyway. Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the Teddy Pendergrass documentary, where I forget the dude's name, but he actually stole all Teddy's music. Like, all the shit that you think was like the Blue Whispers or whatever their name was, that was all Teddy Pendergrass. And apparently, I don't know any Led Zeppelin songs. Kashmir's dope, though. I fuck with Kashmir. But other than that, anyway. So, yeah. Any other Combine news?
Well, last thing on the Kuipers thing that I was going to say was... Tom
and Shay going to be wrong again this year.
I mean, they're both always wrong. Everyone's
But Tom
always
McShay's
wrong.
insufferably wrong. I'll never forgive him for the Jevon Sneed shit. He had him as a first-round pick. Him going to the 7th round. He told him, like, yeah, you should totally go. No, Jevon Sneed clearly should have stayed. But he was a Texas quarterback and went to Ole Miss. And I forgave him because he actually was really good at Ole Miss. Shout out to that running back that they had, Dexter McCluster, who was a running back / receiver. Yeah, Ole Miss always has really good receivers, bro. Ole Miss is low-key wide receiver U. If we're keeping it a buck on the low, they are. They put out more receivers than USC does, and UCLA, and Oregon, and Colorado, and Colorado State. Hell, Boise State too.
All right. Well, you want to talk about franchise tags?
Yeah.
Actually,
the Niners franchise tag Robbie Gould, their kicker.
Yeah, which is hilarious. But, I mean, kickers are hard to find, surprisingly.
And Robbie
Ask
Gould?
the Chargers.
Oh.
Ask the Raiders now. Shit. What? The Seahawks last year? The Cowboys for like 10 years? A lot of teams need kickers. Outside of that, I mean, I really expect a lot of the pass rushers to get the tag. The deadline is March 5th. For those of you who don't know what the franchise tag is, it's basically a designation that limits players, I guess, I wouldn't say rights, but
they're not allowed to. If you can't come to a agreement on a contract extension or whatever, they hit you with a franchise tag, which pretty much means they pay you equivalent to the top 5 players at your position, which makes you like you get a really high salary, but only for that 1 year.
All cash guaranteed, but only for
cash
the year.
money. But if you get injured, tear an ACL, lose an eye socket, die, that's all the money you get, and you might never
like
get that big
Ziggy
deal.
Ansah this year. Because he got the tag last year, got hurt this year.
Still had almost 10 sacks, I think.
And now he had like 4 of them in one game or something like that. But
Doesn't matter.
he had like
he still made it.
He had like I don't think
8.5.
Yeah, he had like 8.5. Yeah, that sounds more right. But yeah, so
Google it, your laptop's right there.
Outside of that, yeah, I expect a lot of the pass rushers to get
Justin
it.
Houston might get traded so the Chiefs can sign. Yeah, we're talking about the Chiefs. Shout out. I don't even want to say his name because he's such a goddamn Chiefs fan. But you know who from a certain show that comes on before us that calls himself the point guard. Yeah. Shout out to the Chiefs who are going to have to give up Justin Houston. They're going to have to probably trade him. The Raiders will probably be stupid enough to pick him up. Or the Steelers because they don't have Bud Dupree's a bust. There, I said it. Actually, Justin Houston to the Steelers might actually be a really good idea. Damn. But anyway, if that happens, I said it here first on Touchdowns and Tangents. Kenneth Frank James Berry said it. Just want you to keep that for your records. And if somebody asks you who the hell that is, I want you to slap the shit out of them. But anyway, so yeah, D Ford, they're gonna have to probably trade Houston so they can pay D Ford the franchise tag. Antonio Brown, the GM. I can't believe we're going to talk about this story, but
bro, where are you at? What are you doing right now? You're just rambling.
No, I'm not rambling, but I'm just like I don't.
You literally are rambling. I'm disgusted
right
by
now. The story because I
we're not even there yet. I didn't even finish talking about the franchise tag. You just
that is the All right, fine. Go ahead. Keep going. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? I thought that was all the people were gonna get franchise tagged. Because Clowney might get franchise tagged, but I doubt it.
There's a whole class of edge rushers, which I was going to talk about, who are probably going to get franchise tag. Between the Seahawks, Frank Clark, the Patriots, Trey Flowers.
That'd be gross if he got franchised because he's not as good as those other guys. But he's good for their system.
Who else? Jadeveon Clowney with Houston. Dallas's DeMarcus Lawrence, and there's one more.
But Randy Gregory.
Oh, you said D Ford. D Ford, yeah. So all those guys are potential. Over here. All those guys are, yeah. If you would get out of your own fucking head, pull your head out, do the fucking show instead of over here rambling doing Kenny's fucking show.
I wasn't actually rambling,
bro. You literally went from franchise tags to the trade block to the Steelers, which are literally all my next three stories, and didn't even finish the first story, which was the point that you were trying to make. And you
said that I didn't read the rundown.
You're just really petty today, bro. Like, I'm about to walk out. Like, I'm over this shit. You can finish the show by yourself.
Go ahead. Like, finish the list.
The reason why I said those edge rushers are interesting in terms of the franchise tag is that because if they all get paid top 5 money, you're going to see the market of edge rushers substantially go up. Now, the thing that might prevent that from happening is the fact that this draft class is deep with defensive line talent.
Edge rushers.
And edge rushers. Which
the Chiefs could get Montez Sweat, possibly.
Which might make, teams like the Chiefs, like the Texans, like the Cowboys, take their chance in the draft and let these guys test the open market and get a shit ton of money and be sorry on another team.
Or just pull an Olivier Vernon and get like 7 sacks a year.
But making ridiculous money.
Stupid money. I would never have paid Olivier Vernon that much money. Dog, you got to be a 3 technique in my defense if you're only going to give me 7 sacks.
But yeah, so franchise tag March 5th. Stay tuned. That's going to set the tone for the whole free agency. Because a lot of those big names are either going to be on the open market and make a ton of money, or they're not.
Because the ceiling is already set for edge rushers with interior defensive linemen with Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. So it's just everybody else finding their slot beneath those guys.
Except for if you're their agent and you're going to tell various reasons why you deserve more than them. Because that's how it works every single year.
D Ford probably has the best case. Jadeveon Clowney really doesn't.
I don't know about that.
D Ford has had how many 10 or 11 sack seasons?
He's only been a full-time starter, 2 years?
Exactly. That's why it's so impressive. Damn.
And he's still undersized. And he still gets and he still over-pursues.
He still gets sacks. Doesn't matter. He gets sacks. Another Auburn edge rusher. When Auburn edge rushers are good, they're really great. When they're trash, they're trash.
But all right, trade block. On the trade block, as you alluded to, Justin Houston's there. Then you got your boy Nelson Aguilar for the Philadelphia Eagles, who might get shot because they traded for Golden Tate last year and they like what he offers, which is similar to Aguilar. Then you got John Ross, former Washington
Husky standout, but he's done nothing for the Bengals.
Literally nothing. He's been there 2 seasons and caught like 20 passes. So he's also on the trading block. And before we talked about Trey Waynes, who's been on the trading block. He was a 2015 first-round pick. Really been kind of more of a slot corner type of guy just because he's a little bit undersized. You got Jordan Howard, who's had 3 straight seasons of 1,000 yards from scrimmage, who's also on the trading block just because I feel like they're moving more towards Tariq Cohen because he's a little bit more explosive and breaking.
He's not a good fit for that offense. It's more of a quarterback. I'm going to sling it and distribute the ball rather than depend on my really good running back to run the ball. Like, Jordan Howard would be great.
Even though we were really talking about Jordan Howard like 2 years ago as like potentially being one of the best backs in the league.
Well, he would have been when they were running that old system. I think he'd be perfect.
The Matt Forte system?
Yeah.
That's really what he was compared to.
I think Jordan Howard would be perfect for Oakland.
And then you got the Jets talking about trading back. They're currently number 3 in the draft. Can you stop eating?
No one knew I was eating until you said something.
Bro, you can hear. I can hear the sound in the mic. People know you're eating.
No, they don't. I could have just been hitting the box. They would have never known. Damn, you're rude.
Because I fat shamed you on the air right now?
Yeah, you fat shamed me. I was hungry. I didn't eat shit today. You're terrible.
You just told me you had Carl's Jr. before you came.
I ate
and
like
then
a
we
tiny
had
ass burger, and I was like, wow, no wonder why this Carl's Jr. is going out of business. They're trash.
That's the worst Carl's Jr. The
one by CSUN?
The one by CSUN is the worst Carl's Jr. ever.
That's the worst.
You got to go to the one.
Can I get a CSUN discount? No, we don't do that. But it doesn't get a CSUN discount. We don't do that. The fuck? The only thing good there is their shakes.
Even that isn't that great. All right, but
right.
Yeah, the Jets, they traded up last year to get Sam Darnold, and now they're trying to trade back for number 3 to get a couple of picks. That's a storyline I'll be looking at. Potentially, I don't know, man.
The Packers?
I think it sucks for the Raiders because they're probably going to want to trade back from 4. So if the Jets are willing to trade back,
I think
it's going to drive the price down.
It would be smart if Josh Allen somehow falls to 4. I don't think the Raiders can pass on.
Dude, I've seen Josh Allen go as low as like 7 to like 25.
That's disrespectful.
I mean, that's usually what happens.
He actually is a better version of Von Miller than Von Miller was coming.
I mean, but that's usually what happens with edge rushers like that, who are kind of tweener guys, where it's like they could go either way, and especially you. I mean. Bosa, you're the one who always likes to cite high school recruit. He was a 2-star recruit.
And former wide receiver who had to learn how to play defensive end. And
we all know one of those guys from high school.
Yeah, we all do. And drop out of college. He had to drop back in college. Maga Bosa, Joey Bosa's brother.
Maga Mac. You mean?
Nah, he wishes he was Khalil Mack. Yeah, who, by the way, his
Maga Bradley Chubb?
No. Leave Bradley Chubb alone.
MAGA Jadeveon Clowney?
You're just mad because the Raiders couldn't get...
Jadeveon Clowney?
You're just mad because the Raiders couldn't get Bradley Chubb. That's
MAGA Deion Jordan?
No. He's more like MAGA Aaron Campman.
Oh, nah. You can't use that comparison again, fam. Use that on his older brother and flopped.
Okay, fine. Anthony...
You got to stop hating on
Anthony
white...
Nelson...
You got to stop having a vendetta against white players going in the top 5 because it's not working out for you.
I don't.
Joey Bosa, Baker Mayfield.
Those are the only.
Those were like your 2.
Those are the only 2 I've been wrong on.
Yeah, but you were
everybody
like
else I was right
wrong.
About.
You were like horribly wrong, like flaming dumpster trash wrong.
And I came on here and admitted it.
You did, but
my winning percentage is pretty high.
I'm just saying, it's
okay. You didn't like Todd Gurley coming out, so you need to be quiet.
You're never gonna let me live that down.
I'm never gonna. Yeah, because I can go in the archives and say you said he was gonna be a bust and he wasn't gonna work.
I never said he was gonna be.
Oh my god! Do I need?
I said he wasn't worth the 10th pick.
Football Friday. No, before he got drafted, you said he's not gonna go draft. He's not gonna get drafted high.
Yeah, because he had a torn ACL.
He's just another system Georgia running back.
Yeah, I did say that.
Come on, dog. Don't lie.
I did say that. I never said I didn't say that.
He said he was going to be a bust. By the way, Anthony Nelson, the redshirt junior edge rusher out of Iowa, probably going to be Aaron Campman. Late bloomer.
Next up, you want to talk about the Steelers or Bob Kraft? Because we need to talk about both of those. We didn't get to those last week.
We'll just go run through the Steelers one, and then we're going to talk about human sex trafficking for all our listeners out there listening, who probably are going to get mad about what's going to be said in the next 10 minutes. We're talking about sex trafficking of women and old white men.
I'm not laughing at that.
So please keep the same energy
I'm laughing
that
at
all y'all had for R. Kelly.
I'm laughing
We're
at you.
going to talk about sex trafficking. Okay, but first we're going to talk about bum-ass Kevin Gilbert.
Doug, I'm sorry that D-Wade meme, though. with the D-Wade picture where it's like R. Kelly was cool. I'm sorry, it's funny. It's not funny because it's true, but it was funny.
We're not going to talk about that right now. But I just want people to have that same energy for Robert Kraft that they have for, black entertainers who get in trouble with shit.
Okay, go.
But anyway, so to talk about this Pittsburgh Steelers thing, and Mighty Jones was like, when Antonio Brown was talking to, I forget who it was, he's talking to somebody in the news about Ben Roethlisberger, and he's like saying how much of a shitty a teammate he is and how he's not accountable. He was like, Antonio Brown, perfect example of someone who's dressed horribly, just dressed like a fool, but absolutely right. So Antonio Brown, pretty much like, Big Ben's not accountable to the team. He says one thing to the media, but then he just makes excuses.
He has a weekly radio show where he basically would call out his teammates.
Yeah. But then when we get in film study, he keep the same energy, and a lot of people on the team are tired of it. But they don't say anything.
And that's the thing is they're not even defending him. So that's how a lot of this is warranted. Just because no one's like, hey, even their bum ass offensive line that we clowned on all last year weren't
clown ass men.
Even
the dude who got a silver star.
None of them came on and were like, nah, Big Ben's our guy and Big Ben is great, blah, blah, blah. I ain't heard shit from them. All I heard was
Big Ben's in the last year for 4 year, $87.5
all I heard was Antonio Brown pretty much say, Ben, everyone's talking about me, but Ben Roethlisberger is the one who's at the owner's level. He's the one who talks to ownership. He's the one who can basically do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and go beyond the Steeler way.
Yeah.
Whatever the Steeler way is these days, because who knows what that means anymore.
Because we lose all the time. Like, at least, and pretty much it's true. Because like I said, aside from the fact that Big Ben, got away with damn near almost raping a girl and assaulting her in a bathroom, we never hold Big Ben accountable, which is just kind of a microcosm of society.
And what the owner pretty much said was it the owner?
No, it was the GM, Kevin Beecham or some shit like that.
Pretty much he said,
he's one of our children. Big Ben's like the head of all our children. Young guys should listen to him. And Antonio Brown's like, that's the shit I'm talking about.
But he said kids.
52 grown-ass men in the locker room. Are you calling me a kid, dog?
And what LZ
said. I was homeless and all that.
LZ said on the radio this morning is kid is about a corner away from boy, which is a corner away from something else. And it's Black History Month. And nobody should stand for that, especially during Black History Month.
And you ain't going to call me a boy or a child.
They're grown-ass men.
I'm a grown-ass man. I have children, and you going to call me a child?
And I think the big distinction is, like, we could say, and they were making this distinction as well in 7-10. They're like, when you're talking about the Lakers, you can say, oh, like, we lost because we have a bunch of kids. Like, whatever. They're young.
Because they're rookies.
They're young, blah, blah, blah. They're young. But you're not like, oh, these are my children. That's a different connotation if you're like, oh, these guys are my children, because they're not. They're grown ass men, and you shouldn't talk to them that way. And
you get your ass beat if you talk to.
Which is
all I know is Big Ben wouldn't do that if he had to be alone in a weight room with one of those guys, or on the street. He wouldn't be talking like that.
But yeah, so pretty much that whole saga is going to come to an end.
I can't wait until they actually release Big Ben, because then when
I can't wait till we get a 30 for 30 on these past 2 seasons
on the Steelers. Antonio Brown, he's even said, he's like, I've been a diva, I've handled things the wrong way, but y'all give Big Ben a pass. The media gives him a pass. Everyone gives Ben a pass. When he's been nothing but childish and an asshole and a goody two-shoes most of his career. We like to forget the motorcycle accidents, the sexually assaulting women in a bathroom and paying them off, so it never came out what actually happened.
And I forgot who talked about it. It might have been, I don't think it was Hines Ward. It might have been the corner I always slander.
Ike Taylor?
Yeah, it might have been Ike Taylor.
He knocked you out, though.
But he pretty much came on the air and was like, Big Ben came in as a rookie. He was kind of a game manager. And, he's just not a natural leader. And that doesn't necessarily make him a bad quarterback, because everyone thinks quarterbacks are, these great natural leaders, and is like Big Ben has never been that guy. Like he's kind of had to learn it and grow it, but like the fact that no one is coming to his aid and being like, "Oh, Big Ben is this big leader," it's because he's really not. It's not his character. It's not natural to him.
That's not him as a man.
It's not him as a man. Which
says a lot about you as a man.
He's just more of a like easygoing like guy. He's not one of those gym rats. He's not all about football. Like this is not to say he's not all about football. Like he's not about his craft.
He's a spokesperson.
He's just not.
He's the Manchurian candidate of leaders.
Something like that.
He's a propped up guy.
Exactly.
Put in a position who is never really accountable for the things he does.
Yeah.
And all the interceptions he used to throw. Come on. But yeah.
All right, next up, man, Bob Kraft. You want to get to
We're talking about sex trafficking. We're gonna go to the bigger overall theme of what he got caught up in, and then we're gonna go down to what he actually did. Go for it. Talk.
You go.
No, I thought you were gonna introduce the story, and then I was gonna.
Yeah. So pretty much, the angle that I brought up this week was that TMZ asked Eric Dickerson this week at the airport or wherever he was, what he made of the whole Bob Kraft situation, which it came out that Bob Kraft was attending this massage parlor on the day of the AFC Championship game, a massage parlor where basically was one of many massage parlors in South Florida and other parts of the country.
South Florida strip mall
that were sex trafficking, that were basically bringing illegal immigrants here.
Yeah, they had cameras on the front,
making them do sex services to basically stay here in the United States and basically interchanging them from state to state and stuff like that. Big whole scheme. Bob Kraft was just one of many people, many high profile people as well, who got caught up kind of in the whole weeds of it. But yeah, Kraft went in the AFC Championship game, basically spent like 20 minutes at this massage parlor and pretty much got, what's an appropriate word that we can say?
A rub and tug?
No, he got full on neck. He got topped. He got topped off.
He got his clarinet cleaned?
Something like that. And hugged the girl afterwards. So there you go.
I've hugged a girl after that.
Yeah, but never.
I broke Pete.
No, because you just implicated yourself in sex trafficking and prostitution.
No, I just want to time out.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you got me. I was like, wait this man just snitch on himself?
I didn't mean that.
I meant like, did this man just snitch on himself?
When a man and a woman have intimate moments together, sometimes, embraces happen. Like, you get a hug afterwards.
And if that man sends her a cash app afterwards,
that's a snap. That's a different episode. That's dudes smashing Snapchat celebrities. I don't do that human trafficking shit. That's not me. I'm not a rich white dude.
But Eric Dickerson's take on it, and I think it's a good take on it, it's pretty much everyone's talking smack about Kraft like he's the only one doing it, when really there's a lot of high profile white men who do this all the time.
Jeffrey
Epstein.
Whether
they're in the media, whether they're owners, whether they're celebrities, it's a pretty common thing for everyone to just kind of castrate Bob Kraft about it like they haven't done it.
And
it's hypocritical.
And the reports came out, said that he was like the least famous billionaire there. There were way more famous white billionaires there than him. So it's a bigger thing. And yeah, those women were held there against their own will, pretty much, and said, yeah, you can be here, but you got to perform sex trafficking. I think there was a madam there who's like 40 or 50 years old or something like that, and then another chick who was like 58. And it's like, human trafficking is just the most grossest, disgusting shit ever. And he did this before the AFC title game?
Yeah, literally the morning of the AFC.
And it's like he did it in a dirty, dingy ass strip mall, because who's gonna know in South Florida what the hell Robert Kraft looks like? Some old ass white dude going to a strip mall and a massage parlor to get his flute fluted. But
wow.
But anyway.
Wow. All right, man. So,
but it was like, I forget who said it, but this dude was like, it's probably some athletes looking at him like, yeah, what do you do? So what do you do? Like, yeah, he went to a massage parlor and paid for a happy ending. What do you do? Which, honestly, yeah, some people might say the argument is, well, what did he do? And then the reports clearly state exactly what he did. And the problem is, the most he can be penalized is what, like
prostitution,
$500,000,
soliciting prostitution.
No, for the NFL. I'm talking about like.
Oh
yeah. The NFL punishment is like 6-game suspension.
He won't even get that much.
And I think a $600,000 fine. Donald Sterling said fucked up shit about black people and lost his team.
Nah, he's not gonna get caught up for this.
But I'm saying, like, there are things. There are worse things that have happened. Jerry Richardson
now. He's gonna do less fine and suspension for this than Tom Brady did for deflating footballs.
I wouldn't be surprised. But I also don't think if they can find the right tech billionaire, I wouldn't be surprised if Kraft is forced to sell his team. But that's only if they find the right tech billionaire. They're trying to get some young tech money and put it in there because all those owners are old as shit. So don't think old white men are loyal to each other.
I mean,
much.
for what Bob Kraft is,
you almost said ass. That's why I was like, whoa.
All I'm gonna say is for what Bob Kraft is,
and what
he could be a lot worse. Like in the scheme,
he might be a lot worse, and we don't know it.
In the scale of NFL owners, he's not the worst. I'll put it to you that way.
He's the nice Republican in front of your face who votes for Trump, and
exactly.
He's the nice liberal, which is actually worse than the stone cold racist. I'd rather deal with a stone cold racist like Trump than a fake liberal person, because at least I know where the stone cold racist is coming from. That's just how life works. I don't want you to throw rocks and hide your hand, and I'm thinking we on the same side and we not. Because when you think about it, somebody said, "Yo, did Meek Mill bail him out of jail?"
He should have.
And it's like, also, you think about this issue of sex trafficking. I think of a guy like Jeffrey Epstein who got walked through the legal system where he just went to day jail or night jail. He would go to work, check into jail, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, go back. And he had molested well over 30 girls. Like, there's evidence of it. And a bunch of judges that, like, they're looking at it now to overturn some stuff, but a bunch of judges, like, that were cool with him or whatever, walked him through the system and gave him the lightest of charges. He's molested well over, like, 30 to 100 girls. They came out and said he did it. Jeffrey Epstein. Go look it up. Not only that, he had his own island, and he had his plane, which is called the Lolita Express. His butler literally came out and stole his daybook, his itinerary, with, like, all the people who were on his plane and everything. Like, that's the bigger issue that we be speaking to when it comes to sex trafficking. And nobody has said 2 words about Jeffrey Epstein in the media. And all y'all still on R. Kelly's head. So just know, a sex trafficking and all that shit, it doesn't stop with one person who we all know. It's the people who you don't even think about who are doing that shit. Like a Bob, or not like a Bob, not like a Kraft, but the people who are his friends who are out here doing it, people that he obviously has been comfortable enough to go to massage parlors with. So yeah, if you honestly think these sports owners aren't dirty, if you don't think there's a whole dark, nasty world out there, I mean, we talked about it a while ago when we talked about cheerleaders for the Redskins, the Deadskins, and all that nasty shit that they were forced to do with those parties. Like, bro, this exists out here. So I just want people to understand this. Like, stop getting attached to the name. Oh, it's a famous person that we all know. Oh, we have to cancel this person. Like, yeah, they have to be canceled. But you need to focus on the crime and everyone who's doing it, not just one person. That's just all I'm saying.
All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about,
and seriously, go Google Jeffrey Epstein. That's a nasty motherfucker. He should be castrated somewhere. He's gross.
Yeah. So in addition to the combine,
sorry, Mom, for cussing so much. I'm done. I swear, I'm done. Go ahead.
In addition to the combine, the owners actually have a meeting the first day of the combine, and one thing that they discussed will make Saints fans pretty happy. So pretty much they're looking at expanding instant replay, including reviewing pass interference calls and flags on the play, stuff like that. Pretty much they don't think it's going to happen just because it could open Pandora's box, and the NFL, as we know, doesn't do anything proactive or progressive. So
they never.
Why would they? Why would they do that? Pete Carroll was one dude who weighed in on it. He pretty much said he didn't want instant replay at first, but he sees a value to how it adds credibility to the game, and he would be in favor of it if it means reviewing the defenseless player penalties that are costing teams 15 yards for literally doing what defensive ends and tackles do every single day in practice.
I just want to know, did he want instant replay after the USC-Texas game?
How about that Notre Dame push? You don't want to talk about that, though, huh?
What push? I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
You mean something that happens on every play between offensive and defensive linemen?
Oh, yeah.
In practice?
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Stock blocking?
Wait.
That's pushing.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait. Did Notre Dame win that game now when we look back at history?
Because they lost. They lost. They always lost in their green uniforms. They had a losing record, by the way.
That wasn't
their green uniforms.
That wasn't the season that they had a forfeit wins. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Wait, didn't they get their ass kicked by Jamarcus Russell at LSU in the Sugar Bowl that year? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're
Isn't Jeff Samardzija like a pitcher because he couldn't make it as a receiver in the NFL?
No, he chose baseball first, actually.
Yeah,
but try again.
That's what I'm saying. He's a pitcher now.
He actually would have been a second-round receiver.
We don't know that. He might have ran a 4.6, and then it would have been over.
And he still would have went in the fourth round and been a previous Cooper Kupp.
I don't think he would have been Joe Jurevicius, so you're wrong on that one. Might have been John Shackelford out of Purdue or some shit.
All right, last thing I want to talk about before we close out the show. The AAF. So last week, man, they got $250 million from, I think, the
Carolina, isn't it the Carolina NHL?
Yeah, the NHL
team owner.
Yeah, he pretty much gave them $250 million, and without that $250 million, the league pretty much would have got shut down, and it's only been going for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Now he's their commissioner. He's their God King. He's their Xerxes.
And yeah, there's still complaints going around that league in terms of people getting paid. Yep. People are missing paychecks, and it's kind of a mess, but kind of not. So could go either way.
Shout out to Pep Hamilton getting a head coaching job for one of the XFL teams.
Is that still happening?
Yeah.
It's happening in the fall?
Yeah, he's finally getting the call plays because we know he didn't get the call any under Jim Harbaugh. Or under Jim Caldwell when he was Andrew Luck's offensive coordinator for 17 minutes.
And other AAF storylines, Johnny Manziel
is banned from Canada.
He got cut from the CFL, and now he's taking his talents to the AAF.
He's legally banned from Canada.
Going to be trying out there.
And he's legally banned from Canada.
Trent Richardson is actually going kind of the opposite way of Manziel in terms of actually being a real redemption project.
And not committing domestic violence and doing drugs because he blamed the weed.
He did get kicked out in 2017 for domestic violence. But
Richardson?
Charges got dropped. It was against his baby mama.
So I don't count them because charges got dropped.
That was kind of
gray area.
Do you want to say that?
Does it count since the charges got dropped? I'm asking. Like, he wasn't charged with a crime.
You were the one talking about a culture of protecting predators, but we want to talk about a culture of protecting domestic violence people within our own families.
You know how many baby moms lie on their baby dads and get restraining
And you know
orders?
how many dads really be beating the shit out of their wives in front of their kids?
So the results are inconclusive.
Yes. So we're in the gray area. We agree. Let's move on.
We agreed. I just say shit differently than you, and you assume it's problematic.
Let's move
it's not.
On. No, it is problematic. That's been proven. It's been proven. It's been proven, verified, double, once over.
By people who don't agree with me.
Sources.
By people who don't agree with me. But people who do agree with me will say you're wrong. So,
but they don't.
The results are inconclusive?
But as we know, both in the professional setting and in the personal setting, the people that back you usually do it quietly and silently and in hindsight.
That hurt a little bit.
Because you know it's true. At least I have the courage to either agree with you or disagree with you, both live on the air, on the record, and also to your face. So
yeah, and then the other stuff we're just like, we should talk about that away from here while we're eating Chinese or some shit.
All right, man. So yeah, Trent Richardson, he's having a pretty good season with the AAF, pretty much carrying the Birmingham. I don't even remember what they call it, but there's a real good story about him and his whole kind of comeback. He's looking forward to getting back to the NFL. He would not mention the NFL by name. He just kept saying the big show.
Good job.
And lastly, the whole tone I got from the interview was that he really was more mature just by the way he was talking about the big show and also talking about how important it was for him to just be playing in front of the same Bama fans that, you know, supported him, made him a number 3 pick, and also just really being able to play in front of his sons and having them all in the Birmingham gear and supporting him and just kind of what that means to him. So I definitely got a sense of that.
Was it like a 4.47 or something?
Yeah,
it was slow. It was a 4.47?
Yeah, it was something like that, yeah.
That's not slow, but like I don't think he ran the fastest 40.
Yeah, he didn't run a 4.3. He wasn't Derrick Henry fast.
Derrick Henry ran like a 4.52. So.
I thought he ran a 4.3.
Hell no, Derrick Henry didn't run a 4.3. He ran a 4.52.
He might have ran a 4.53. Anyways.
Where's Michael Bush when you need him? And Ja Rule. Oh, we didn't also talk about the bench press numbers for running backs. One dude did like 34. Jalen Moore out of Appalachian State, running back. You heard it here first. 26 reps. Y'all might want to pay attention to him. And Elijah Holyfield, son of one of the many sons of boxer Evander Holyfield, did 24 bench press reps. Fam, he has like 17 kids or some crazy shit like that. Evander Holyfield got mad kids.
And is this the official son?
Yeah, the one he claims.
Okay.
Unlike Karl Malone, who doesn't claim Demetrius Bell.
Yeah.
That was a sad story when I read that.
Really
I was
sad.
like, damn, fuck Karl Malone.
Yeah.
Scumbag.
But he claimed his other sorry-ass son from LSU.
And Swim Cash. Was it? What's Swim Cash? I think Swim Cash is his daughter.
I don't know. All right, man. So...
Shout out to the WNBA.
Last thing I wanted to shout out before we end. No. Actually, I'll get to that in my rant. So you go first since you've been running this whole fucking show.
I don't really have anything to say.
Clearly.
I think you should go first.
No, you go first because you're just going to fucking take my shit and say it, but say it differently or add on to it.
So shouldn't you go first then if you think I'm going to steal your shit?
You go first. I'm going first all night. Shit.
Now he knows how it feels because my mom says you cut me off way too much on this podcast.
Yeah, that's the point.
They can't hear you, Pete.
That's the point.
They can't hear you, Pete.
What?
Not where you're at. They can't hear you.
Not the Kitty podcast.
They can't hear you, Pete. You're literally just yelling and they can't hear you. Dumbass. All right, but in all seriousness, man, been a tiring week, honestly. One of my coworkers called me old. I wanted to punch him in the fucking face. But then I thought about it. I was like, I'm 27. I was like, damn, I'm old. That shit hurt. I ain't gonna lie. Like, for real. Like, when a young person who's like 22 calls you old, and you're like, wait, how old am I? Not 25 anymore. Damn, that it hurts a little bit. It stings. But with that comes a sense of maturity that I'm kind of growing into. And I like it. So, cheers to 27, man. Like, it's been a great month. Usually, I'm broke as hell at the end of February every year because I just make it rain on myself and just spend all my money. But this time around, it's different. Saved up, being more fiscally responsible, and mentored one of my homies who almost, did somebody just knock on the door? I feel like somebody just knocked on the door.
No, somebody closed the door next door.
I'm about to say, what the fuck? Like, bro, like, this is actually a pretty good place to just hold up a fort if some shit ever goes down. We're already connected to the masses. But anyway, so, yeah. Man, it's weird. Like, in your 20s, at least the early parts of your 20s, you're just ripping and running and always constantly moving. Now I'm kind of just more slowing down. I kind of wish I had done that when I was younger. Probably would have been better off. But that's just life, I think, a lot of times. When you're moving insanely fast, you kind of don't realize it till the end, or at least once I'd say you hit 25, you're like, oh, shit. And I just waited a couple seconds. And I just thought this through for like another day. Shit probably would have been different. But in my case, I haven't really made that many life-destroying decisions. So I'm still pretty good. I'm chilling. I'm solid. But yeah, other than that, don't really have anything to say. Except, yeah, all y'all owe T-Pain an apology, and T-Pain is a better singer a cappella than Beyonce. I don't know who's going to give me flack for that. I don't really care, because it's true. Yeah, if you put raisins in your potato salad, that's gross. Not really.
Well, if you don't have anything to say, you can just end. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say something that I didn't say last week, and now I just forgot it. So fuck it. Here you go. It's Pete now.
Yeah, man.
Totally.
That was bad.
I told you I had nothing to say.
I fell asleep. I've been listening to you talk about your birthday for literally the whole month of February. Like, I'm good, fam. Stop unmuting yourself. Shit. All right, man. First of all, the reason why I cut you off is for instances like this where we're 15 minutes over time and we still had like 10 bullet points we didn't get to, which we can save till next week because they're kind of evergreen. But yeah, that's the show within the show. So I'm letting you in. Yeah, because you're all over the place. Someone got to keep you in check. This ain't the Kenny Show, bro. Go start your own podcast. You can ramble all you want. There's Anchor for that. Go for it. Anyways. Yeah, man. Shit.
You ain't got shit to say.
No, what I was going to say is, man, I wanted to shout out someone who is a real proponent of the cause. Someone who's done a lot of change for people of color throughout their entire life. The original, the only Kaep I acknowledge, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who actually took all of his awards, 4 of his 5 championship rings, auctioned them off, and gave all the money to charity because pretty much what he said was, what else was he going to do with it? That's greatness. That's activism. That's making a change. That's making a difference. Because not only is he, talking about it, raising awareness, writing books about it, and also being a great athlete, but now he's putting his dollars and his money behind it as well. But even besides that, he's putting his life accomplishments behind it, literally giving his life accomplishments to the cause. That's an example that this Generation Y activism can learn from. And that is good news. And that's all I want to say. But yeah, man, you know what it is. Touchdowns and tangents.
That was a bar.
Touchdowns and tangents. I'm PD Camarillo.
I'm Kenneth Frank James Barry.
We thank you once again for listening. We hope we got a little bit better this week. We try to get better every single week. But if you can do one thing to support this podcast, I sincerely ask you to share it with somebody who you think might actually listen to it, might actually enjoy it, might actually add some value to their life. Because honestly, adding even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listeners means the world to us. It means even more than, any sort of tips you could send us. But yeah, we got Cash App, PayPal, all that sort of stuff. If you want it, you can just DM us. We'll take money too, though. Yeah. But yeah, we ain't above that. You want to pay for our hood Chinese, we'll take that. But yeah, point is, we'll take listeners over money. But if you don't know anyone else who rock with the podcast, send us some money or some hood Chinese, and we're straight. If not, stop clout chasing. Like, for real. You on the bandwagon, dope. I'm glad you're listening, cool. But also, you got to put in your work too. If you ain't calling in every week, shout out to the Bobs. Where were you this week, Bob? Disappointed. Regardless, man, touchdowns and tangents. Shout out to the X Squad affiliates. Shout out to FBC Radio. Shout out to your favorite podcast app, except for Spotify.
Wow.
That's your industry plug. You can shout them out if you want.
I mean, honestly, I know some of y'all got Spotify playlists.
Shout out to Apple.
Just throw on touchdowns and tangents on your playlist. Just throw us on your playlist.
But yeah, man, I'm at P Certified. He's
at Ozo Grande, OZO Grande.
Thank you once again for listening. Peace.
We survived Black History Month, y'all. I'm proud of us. But honestly, just for shits and giggles, we're going to extend it another 30 days because y'all don't know how to act.